The recent terror attack in Boulder, Colorado, has underscored the extreme dangers posed to our country by the entry of foreign nationals who are not properly vetted, as well as those who come here as temporary visitors and overstay their visas. We don't want them.
We don't want them. That's what President Trump said. We don't want them. Not to one country, not to 5, but to 12 entire nations, whole nations blacklisted overnight. Under a sweeping new executive order, visa vetting standards were rewritten and travel restrictions tightened. June 9, 2025. At precisely 12:01 a.m., America closed its gates to Afghanistan, Myanmar, Chad, the Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. For citizens of these nations, the United States is now off limits, indefinitely. And they're not alone. 7 more countries were hit with harsh new restrictions, not a full ban, but close. Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, and Venezuela. Their citizens can still enter, but only under intense scrutiny, if at all. President Trump made the announcement just days before the policy took effect. His message was blunt. America must protect itself. We can't allow dangerous individuals from failed states to slip through the cracks, he said. The timing wasn't random. Just 48 hours earlier, a deadly terror attack had rocked Boulder, Colorado. The suspect? A man from Egypt who had arrived on a tourist visa, then simply never left. Egypt isn't even on the restricted list. But the narrative had already taken hold. Trump linked the tragedy to what he called deficient screening systems and governments that refused to take their own people back. He cited a Homeland Security report showing alarming numbers of visa overstays from specific countries, tourists, business travelers, even students who entered legally, then vanished into the system. The last time America tried something like this was in 2017. The result? Chaos, protests. Legal battles that went all the way to the Supreme Court. But this time Trump came prepared. The new ban gave airports time to adjust. The language was tighter. The justification, backed by court precedent. And the political timing? Meticulously chosen. Now, the ban is law. Flights are being rerouted. Embassies are closing their doors. Immigrant families are scrambling. And the world is watching. Again. Let's go back to where it started. Boulder. One ordinary Sunday. That changed everything. The kind of afternoon where the air smells like pine and coffee shops hum with idle conversation. Families were out walking. Students filled the shaded patios along Pearl Street. And just past noon the calm shattered. A black SUV mounted the curb outside a crowded farmer's market. Screams erupted as the vehicle plowed through vendor tents, metal poles snapping like twigs. In the chaos, a single gunshot rang out, then another. Within 90 seconds, 6 people were dead. 11 others were injured. The driver fled on foot, but was apprehended 2 blocks away by local police. He said nothing. No resistance. Just a calm, blank stare as officers dragged him to the ground. The man's name, Karim El-Sayed, 32 years old, born in Cairo. Entered the U.S. on a tourist visa in late 2023. According to DHS records, that visa expired in early 2024. He never left. No flagged alerts, no follow-up, no system to catch him. He simply disappeared into the cracks. Investigators found no direct ties to organized terror groups, no manifesto, no video, just a stack of unpaid traffic tickets and a string of anonymous online rants about American decadence and Western decay. The attack, they said, was likely ideological, fueled by radical views, but carried out alone. But in the world of politics, the facts didn't matter as much as the headlines. Boulder under attack. Foreign national kills 6 in Colorado. Within hours, conservative media had their narrative, and within 24 hours, Trump had his opportunity. He didn't waste it. He released a video just under 2 minutes long. No press questions, no room for rebuttal. Just a stark warning and a list of names. 12 nations, he said, with broken systems and bad intentions. He pointed to the same DHS report his administration had cited years earlier, one that tracked visa overstays by country. According to the data, some nations had overstay rates in the double digits. Entire categories of travelers, students, business people, tourists, who came legally but never went home. "They're not sending their best," Trump said. "They're sending people we can't vet, people who hate us, and we're done pretending otherwise." That same evening, the executive order was signed. Embassies in Port-au-Prince, Tripoli, and Yangon received immediate directives. Airlines were instructed to begin rerouting flights. A 96-hour countdown had begun. On Monday morning, June 9th, the ban became reality. For many Americans, it was a familiar feeling. Déjà vu from 2017. Back then, people had flooded airports in protest. Lawyers had camped out near baggage claims, holding up cardboard signs offering free legal aid. Federal judges clashed with federal agents in a tug-of-war over executive power. But this time, there were no midnight detentions, no screaming at terminals, just silence. A calm, calculated execution of policy. The opposition was still there, loud, angry, and organized, but the strategy had changed. Trump's team had learned from the past, and this time they came with data, precedent, and a story. Boulder, the story that changed everything. Within hours of the ban taking effect, the world's attention turned to Washington. In Tehran, government officials called the policy an act of political hostility. In Mogadishu, leaders condemned it as racist theater. The African Union issued a statement denouncing what it described as a mass punitive measure targeting the global South. But in private, some diplomats admitted they saw it coming. Behind closed doors, several governments had already received quiet warnings from U.S. consulates in the weeks leading up to the announcement. Soft nudges, conditional threats, fix your screening protocols, take back your deportees, or face consequences. Most didn't comply. In Europe, the response was more cautious. French President Elodie Marchand said she would await further legal clarification before issuing judgment. The UK's Foreign Secretary called it disturbing, but not unprecedented. Only Poland and Hungary voiced immediate support, calling it an exercise of sovereign security. But in Washington, the reaction was explosive. Civil rights groups filed 3 lawsuits within 48 hours, accusing the administration of religious discrimination, ethnic targeting, and procedural overreach. Senator Kamala Harris called the move a coward's playbook, use fear, scapegoat the foreigner, and call it strength. Representative Carlos Muñoz, himself the son of Venezuelan immigrants, stood on the House floor and read the names of detained students whose visas were suddenly revoked mid-flight. But Trump wasn't backing down. In fact, he doubled down. From the Rose Garden, he framed the criticism as proof of weakness. "They said it in 2017, he declared. "They sued, they screamed, they lost, and we won. The court sided with us then, and they'll side with us now." His approval rating, which had been hovering in the low 40s, spiked overnight among his base. Talk radio lit up with praise. "He's protecting America again," said one host. "No more apologies. No more waiting for another Boulder." The political establishment, however, saw deeper consequences brewing. Trade talks with several African nations froze. A planned security summit in Lagos was cancelled in protest. Quiet rumblings in Southeast Asia hinted that Laos and Turkmenistan would retaliate economically. And in the UN, a coalition of 22 countries prepared to introduce a resolution condemning the ban as a violation of international norms. But Trump's circle saw that as background noise, expected, irrelevant. They were already looking ahead. Their goal was bigger than security. It was optics, power, and permanence. The ban is just a list, 12 countries, typed in plain font, announced in a press release, repeated on television. But for the people tied to those countries, it isn't policy, it's paralysis. In Mogadishu, Somalia, a woman clutches a folder full of stamped documents. Her fiancé is in Michigan, finishing his medical residency. The wedding is planned for next month. Her bag is packed. Her ticket is paid for. But at the airport gate, she's told her visa is no longer valid. In Yangon, Myanmar, A young man waits outside the US consulate. In his hands is a scholarship letter from NYU. Classes start in 60 days. But the line at the window never moves. An officer steps out and posts a sign. No visa applications are being accepted at this time. No explanation. No alternatives, just a closed door, 12 countries, 12 locked gates, and no one prepared for how fast the walls would rise. The list is simple, cold, bureaucratic, but to the people affected it isn't a list, it's a sentence. Afghanistan, Myanmar, Chad, the Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen. Each name, a nation placed in a holding pattern, each citizen reduced to a risk factor. This isn't a protest, it's a policy. And the cost is paid not in dollars or votes, but in moments that never happen, weddings that don't, graduations watched through screens, medical trials missed, promises broken in silence. The 2025 travel ban isn't loud. It doesn't explode. It quietly disconnects. And for the 12 countries at the center of it, the pain isn't about politics. It's about presence. The people who are ready to come can't. The people who waited for them are still waiting. And the places they were supposed to be? Classrooms, boardrooms, churches, clinics, they all have one thing in common: an empty chair. Do you think America is protecting itself or isolating itself? Have you or someone you know been impacted by these travel changes? Is this just about safety, or is something bigger happening beneath the surface? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.